So as I was working on the review of this Militado watch that I got a couple of days ago, and I was just hanging out on Reddit, and then I came across this very interesting post from a user on subreddit Chinese watches, and he was talking about that he's getting rust on stainless steel on his Militado watches. 316L stainless steel is not supposed to get rusted, you know, and that's what the specs of Militado watches says, that they are 316L stainless steel. So, and then this guy puts these watches through some tough work in a day. So he's a blue collar dude working, you know, with dust, oil, all that stuff. He posted the pictures of the watches and it exactly looks like, you know, it's getting rusted. But then what I saw was pretty amazing. Actually, the rep from Militado watches was there, very quick to respond. They confirmed that it is 316L stainless steel, and even I think the rep was saying that they have this factory for over 20 years working, building watch cases and bracelets for some Swiss watchmakers. That makes you think, you know, like how much extra we pay for these you know, Swiss watches or even Japanese. Anyway, so they were pretty quick to respond to his thing, and they told him that they're gonna send him, you know, shipping label back and send the watch, and they're gonna send back. So the guy went back and he did give it another cleaning this morning with alcohol and Q-tips or whatnot. You know, the whole post is there, and turns out it was not a rust, but it was a dried oil with dust or whatever. So basically it was not rusted. So he did apologize and made another post about, you know, that it was his mistake, and in fact the watches look basically brand new after he cleaning it, you know. This was a very good thing to see here on these watches, because this is the one we are recommending and wearing and believing whatever the spec sheet says about these watches. So it was pretty good to see the response, the customer service, and the response from these Militado watches of, you know, stepping up to take that action to fix the problem and take the watch, give them another one. So, you know, with that being said, although we pay, you know, very little for these watches, and I've heard people say, I don't know how the warranties work, would they keep their word on the warranty or whatnot? And this proves they do. If anything happens to your watch that is unusual, or, you know, and if you do reach out to these people, I think they will be more than happy to help, or through Reddit or just a direct email. So with that being said, I am more confident now actually making this review about this watch and talking about it. And actually, you know, if any one of you would want to buy it, it's a pretty solid watch from a solid manufacturer, I would say. So with that being said, what we have today is this Militado Black Bay 58 Homage. I have the matte black dial with the white indices and hour hands, and like the gray bezel. The dimensions I'm gonna put on the screen, and I'll show you some wrist shots. It wears pretty nicely, feels very nice, and that dial, that matte black dial, looks very nice as well. The dial color is matte, which contrasts very well with those hour markers that are white and circular, except for 12-hour position, which features a triangle, and then the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions, which are rectangular. The hour, second, and minute hours are also white with that silver steel borders on the side. That looks very nice. Yeah, on the loom side, this one has BGW9 loom, and the other variants have different, I think, Super C3 loom. So whichever variant of this watch you're getting, so know that you will be getting different BGW9 or Super C3. Under macro shot, when I really got in there with my 105mm lens, that's when you can see some imperfections on the hour hand. But from a wrist distance or from a third person perspective, those stuff you cannot really tell honestly at all. But if you get close, even without a lens or any magnifier, if you get close to the watch, you can see those imperfections on an hour hand specifically. The second hand and the minute hand actually looks fine, but there is a little bit of that imperfection on the hour hand. I don't know if that is just with this piece that I got, or but let me know if you guys have this watch and have seen that before. And then the color on the hour and second hand, that loom filled color, is little brighter white than the hour markers are having this greenish yellow hue, which is a little bit off-white than the hour hands. You cannot really tell the difference unless like you're really paying attention and looking for those details. From a distance or, just a glance, you can't really tell the difference because it's so subtle. And then the bezel is this matte grayish, like a dark grayish color, which looks very nice with that dome crystal. The whole thing looks very nice. The markers on the bezel is on the smaller side, which looks nice actually, the whole thing. It's not too big because I was wearing the watch the other day, my St. Martin Blue Titanium GMT watch, which I did a review recently, and a friend of mine saw from work, not a watch guy, just regular. He was like, oh, I like that watch, but the markers on that bezel looks too big. And then the next day, when I was wearing this one, he preferred this because it had that smaller. It's something to keep in mind, not a big deal for me. I still like the look of that St. Martin GMT over this, but if you are a fan of Black Bay 58, this piece is pretty nice, I have to admit. Okay, so the case and dimensions. The case is a pretty much basically Black Bay 54 Tudor case, which is brushed on the side, and on the chamfers you have that line of beautiful polished on the edge, which adds a little bit of that dressy type to it. The screw down crown, the crown is not signed, but the action on the crown is pretty nice. When you're unscrewing the crown, it feels very nice, and it's very tight and sturdy once fully screwed down. The action to wind the watch feels very nice. There is a ghost position on the date side. Yeah, I think it has NH34 movement, so you do have that ghost position. Unscrew and screwing down the crown, that action is pretty good. Feels very solid and nice. If you can hear, the bezel action is pretty nice. It feels solid. There is not much back play, and it sounds very satisfying and nice. I like that about this watch for sure. On the construction side of this piece and putting together, as I said earlier, this is a 316L stainless steel, solid steel watch, done very nicely. The finishing and the machining and all that stuff around it is very nice. The dial itself is very nice. Besides that, a little imperfection on the hour hand does not bother me at all. For $120, I think that's what I paid for this watch. If I had paid like, let's say $600, $700 or $500 like Seiko watches, I would be pretty pissed about it. But for $100, I am getting to try one of my favorite watches, which is Black Bay 58. I wanted that watch so bad. This definitely gives me an idea how would it be to own. And after actually trying these Chinese watches, what I thought would be my favorite watches have changed a lot. My favorites were like Rolex Submariner or Black Bay 54 and all of that, and now I'm finding actually I like more Rolex Explorer 1 design and Rolex Datejust designs more, or this Air King design which Octopus Kraken has. These ones I like more now. So if I had that $5,000, instead of going for Black Bay 54, I would go rather for Tudor Ranger or like some Rolex Datejust. And that's because I tried, and I know that I don't like Black Bay 54 look as much as I like more this sporty dressy watches more now, Then it has a trifold clasp, which is done very nicely. There is a sharp edges on the outer side of the clasp, but the inside is done pretty nicely. So I don't think it will bother you wearing it yourself, but if you have kids or anything, that you might scratch them from the outer side of this clasp. It is pretty sharp from on the edges actually. Then domed sapphire crystal with high clear AR coating and 200 meters of water resistance, which is more than enough for your pool or beach day. The bracelet is done very nicely. It feels very smooth. There is no sharp edges on the inner or outside, and then the bracelet itself feels very nice. It has that 2 screws on the both sides type of bracelet. It is a bit annoying to do those adjustments, but not that bad actually. Then it's one-time thing. Once you get it fit on your wrist, that's all you gotta do. There is no on-the-fly adjustment on this, which sucks, but there is micro adjustments on the inner side of the clasps. You have to go through that annoyingness to adjust that. For $120, honestly, you get an amazing watch, and from the look of it on the Reddit this weekend, you get a great customer service, and anything goes wrong with this watch, you send them back, they'll send you brand new. Fully solid 316L steel, one of the most legendary designs. Of course, all the credit design goes to Tudor, but here you get a solid watch with a reliable movement. I think that's it for me. I hope this was a quick, short one. I think it went longer than I thought.